Hello and welcome to this ongoing series about numbers in Persian. This is episode number 2, in which we will cover the numbers from 10 to 20. And as I said in the previous episode, these numbers are kind of irregular, but not entirely. There is still some pattern, which we will see today. And this is why you can see there is some parts written in red here, which is from the number 10 that we learned in the last episode. And number 10 was, of course, da. And da is repeated all through the numbers all the way up to 19, but I will explain that more later. First, I think that we will start by repeating what we learned in the last episode, which is counting from 1 to 10 in Persian. So let's get started. Number 1 is yek. Number 2 is to. Number 3 is se. Number 4 is chahar. Number 5 is panch. Number 6 is shes. So number 7 is haft. Number 8 is hasht. Number 9 is no. And finally, number 10, as I said, is da. All right, so let's get on with today's lesson. And it is important to remember number 10, da. Because basically how the numbers from 10 to 20 works is that it takes a transformation of the first number, for example 1 or 2, and then adds it to 10. So we actually say 1 and 10 to make 11, and 2 and 10 to make 12, etc. But there is some transformation, so it's not just yek da for 11, for example. There is some rules to how these are formed, but basically it is much easier to just remember them in your head. So let's try the first one and see how this goes. So number 11, basically let's start with the simple, easy beginning. It is pretty easy. As I said last time, we write from left to right, so it's basically just two ones. We just add the numbers from 1 to 9 that makes up this number. So 11 looks like this. And 11 is called yasta. So yas, and then da from the 10. So let's break this down. So first we have yas, which you can see is kind of similar to number 1, yek, but it's transformed into this other variety. So we say 1, and then we have the da, which is 10. So 1 and 10, 11. That is how this works. So number 11 is yasta. Yasda. Another thing to note here is that the and, so 1 and 10, the and in there is not implicitly written. So it's not actually there, it's just 1, 10 basically. But like implicitly it is understood that it's in there. And when we move on from 20 and onwards, we will also actually see and hear the and in there between the numbers. But that will be in the next episode. For now, let's continue onwards with the next numbers. So number 12, the simple. Again, pretty simple, we already know it. And here, the number for 2 is do, but it becomes davash in this transformation. So davash. And then again, the da for 10. So 2 and 10, davashta. And number 13, we know the symbol. And here we knew that number 3 is called se in Persian, and it is transformed into sis. So number 13 is sis da. Sista. Number 14 is still the same. This is not transformed, so it's still chahar, which was number 4. First the simple here looks like this, and chahar da. And this is the only number where the original number is not transformed. So let's take one more before we do a quick repeat of what we learned so far. So number 15, we know the symbol, the reversed heart, the cool one. And number 5 was panch, but it becomes transformed into A word that is kind of similar, but there is a small difference. It is called panchta. So let's write it down here. So you see, panch, the number for 5, had a J at the end. This has a set or C. So it is kind of different, but pronounced almost the same. And then, of course, we add the da at the end. So panchta, panchta. So let's repeat from 11 to 15. So yashta, davashta, sista, chahada, and panchta. You should try to repeat them for yourself if you can't follow along. Just stop the video and try to repeat them if you need to do so. Because repetition is key to learning anything, especially the languages. All right, so let's continue with number 16. And we already know the symbol. 1 and 6 together. And here, number 6 was called shes, but in the transformed version, it becomes shans, shans. So we write shans. And again, of course, da. So shansta. Number 17. We know the symbol, the downward arrow. And number 7 was called haft. Here it becomes hif. But another thing to notice here is that both 17 and 18 has 2 different pronunciations, one for colloquial and one for like written or formal Persian. I will use the colloquial ones. So 17 in the colloquial sense is pronounced hifta, but you can also, in the written sense or formal sense, it's called hafta. But hifda is the one we will go with. So hifda, hifta. And the same goes for 18, as I said. First, let's write the symbol here, the upward arrow. This also has 2 different pronunciations. The colloquial version is hishta, but it can also be pronounced heshta. So heshta and hishta. And we will go with the colloquial hishda. Oh, sorry, that might be a little... Yeah, so it's a C at the end there. So hishda, 8 and 10. 8, 10, 18. So now we're the last one for these kind of irregular words here. And that is 19, which is, we know the symbol here. 1 and 9. And we know that the number 9 was no, but here it becomes nus, nush, nus, nus, and again da. So nushta, nushta. So before we go on with 20, because 20 is different, let's repeat all the way from 11 back to 19 now. So number 11 is yasta, yasta. Number 12 is davashta, davashta. Number 13 is sista, sista. Number 14 is chahada, chahada. Number 15 is panchta, panchta. Number 16 is shansta, shansta. Number 17 is hifta, hifta. Number 18 is hishta, hishta. And finally, number 19 is nushta, nushta. All right, so to finish off this lesson, we will do number 20. And we already also know how to do the symbol for 20. It's just a 2 with the 0. That is 20. And 20 is very different because the word for 20 is beast. Beast. So almost like beast, but like with a more contracted pronunciation, basically. And from here, it becomes very regular, as we shall see in the next lesson. But for now, try to go through this and repeat it for yourself. Try to learn the numbers, and I will see you for more numbers in the next episode, in which we will cover, and yeah, hold on now, all the way from 20 until 100, because from 20 onwards it becomes really easy. So yeah, we will do that next time. Thank you for watching, and hope to see you again.